Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest. Hey buddy and welcome to Rauta. This is of course another review and unboxing video, and here this time we have a band from Sweden. This one is Last Legion. Before we get to the unboxing one, it's time to recap a little bit of the band, or actually I could do it right the same way, and let's hope my camera setting is something that you can take benefit of while I'll guide you through. Okay, this is one of those jewel cases which is going to break if I just force it open. So very simple, basics kind of a CD here, and this is how it looks. This came very early on, which is always nice. And by very early I mean few weeks before the actual CD got out. And this is the debut album by this Swedish band that is considered as blackened thrash. I don't pretend to know why Metal Archives has labeled this as thrash death. Maybe it's because of some previous releases. Maybe someone is hearing some different things than me. But be it as may, I would rather go with the band's own definition of the band or description, blackened thrash metal, because in fact it seems to be the case with this debut album. But before we get into the music, a quick recap is worth mentioning. I don't know how accurate Metal Archives or how updated it is, but let's go with the information and assume it's close enough to the truth. The thing here is, if you take a look at these current members and current lineup versus the past members, it's clear that when the band was founded in 2009, a couple of members actually were relieved, left the band, quit the band, whatever you want to say, and this kind of partially explains why the band has been out there for more than 10 years before full album. So first album 2 years after the very beginning, that's kind of a normal pace when you really figure out what you want to play, what kind of songs you do, and blah blah blah. And then the second album 2015, that's quite a bit of a gap, but that's exactly where a couple of older members left the band. So I guess the band had to take a couple of steps backward before moving on. Since 2016, the lineup has been pretty steady. Still, it's 7 years into making. Now, there are still, like EP and demo, so it's not like the band has, being like doing nothing. But these kind of a setback sometimes really put the band back a lot. It's not a nice thing, but this is kind of a good lesson for those younger kids who just, form a band and within a couple of weeks with their laptops and smartphones, they're like, okay, I'm ready to do an album. They kind of skip the demo phase and move right on to doing album, released on Bandcamp because they kind of find a label for their crappy release. And then they are like upset why their album number one is torn to shreds because it's essentially a bad demo. So what I like to say here is Last Legion is doing the right steps. Even if it took time, at least they have the thing figured out and the result is somewhat enjoyable. Actually, it's pretty good, but there are a couple of flaws which I want to tackle here with this review of Metall, blod, and aska. If my Swedish is not totally off, I would say this is indeed metal, blood, and ash. Not so much sure about aska, but supposedly like that. So this album runs for some 35 minutes. It's pretty short, but then again, this is thrash metal, not some epic power metal symphony or whatever. And throughout those 8 tracks, you kind of get very sweet deal. I mean, the songs are right to the point, they're kind of a simple riffs, and there's certain kind of a grooviness which keeps the band going on, the so-called momentum. And this is for the good. Because the thing here is, you don't want to do thrash metal too complicated with too lengthy tracks and all that stuff. Bear in mind, apart from Metallica and maybe a little bit of Megadeth, many thrash metal bands, many thrash metal songs, the cult classic ones even, are kind of short and sweet. Think of like, some of the Slayer songs on Raining Blood, for example. Probably the best album in the world in the metal of all times. You have like 2 or 3 minute songs. You do like 10 songs within 30 minutes, in and out, boom, done. And that's the benefit of Last Legion here as well. They're not complicating things. They're making it simple and easy to listen, and then you move on before you get bored of those 7, 8 minute tracks. This is so-called Metallica symptom. And mind you, while they did a lot of good songs with that kind of formula, they also fail a lot of times with that. So Last Legion has found something very, very typical to thrash metal, and I think they are taking the benefit of that. This is one of the good sides. Other good thing here is they also have found, kind of a very good production for this album. It's not too clean, it's not too posh, but then again, it's not raw, gritty, or somehow unfitting for the music. In my opinion, this is a very, very good thrash metal production here, what's happening. Now, there are a couple of problems with songwriting, however, and I would say they lack catchiness. And this catchiness is very, very important when we're talking about thrash metal classics. Whether we are talking about, songs like whatever on Raining Blood actually has, or whether we are talking about, albums like Kill 'Em All, or, basically any kind of a thrash metal cult album, or just massive success. No, we're not talking about Black album here. You kind of understand that a lot of those has memorable chorus parts, whether it's about Angel of Death or, some Madhouse track by Anthrax and things like that. Essential chorus parts and memorable riffs and stuff like that. It's very, very much a key element to thrash metal success, at least according to me and my only opinion here. Now, mileage may vary and some people might be different, like, hey, think about Orion, it's like almost 8 minutes of, or something like 8 minutes of, thrash metal in an instrumental way without chorus parts. Yeah, those are exceptions. They're ones that kind of make their way to the history books because they are the very few exceptions. Show me another Orion and I'll offer you a beer. Now, point aside is that, this is the only part of the songwriting that, in my opinion, misses the bullseye here, missing the chorus part. It's not a big flaw, but it's flaw worth mentioning. The other thing is, and this is even more dividing in my opinion, are the vocals. They are black metal vocals, hence the blackened thrash metal thing here all over. And this is not so simple. The thing here is, these black metal vocals are actually pretty goddamn good, way better than many of the black metal bands out there. So I kind of like the strong Swedish accent there, spitting forward those words and all. In a black metal band, it would be close to perfection. Really good anyway. But with thrash metal, it's a little bit like, I don't know, setting me off in a weird way, because the thing here is, I do love, for example, James Hetfield vocals. I do love Tom Araya vocals. I do love John Bush or Joey Belladonna vocals. You know what I'm talking about here. Personality, different kind of voice. Joey Belladonna and Johnny Bush. I mean, god damn it, they're totally different. I'm not a big fan of Dave Mustaine, but even he has personality. Whereas these vocals, they're black metal vocals. Very generic, even if good. So that's a little bit like giving this a black trash feeling. But then again, if you just would remove the vocals here, it would be just thrash metal, even kind of a punky ways. And that's a good thing in my opinion. I'm not a fan of punk, but I do like when the thrash metal riffs are simple and sweet. It's all about the kind of heaviness plus pace, fast tempo and energy. So it doesn't have to be complicated. But here it is a little bit like a weird mix. Like, are you trying to do this in a way like a black trash, like or a noir, or are you just having thrash metal with blackened vocals? My point here is, I guess the vocalist could be really good if he just let him out of that black metal box. Don't get me wrong, once again, the vocals are good, but they could have taken the benefit of going a little bit cleaner, a little bit out of the black metal box, all I'm saying. But overall, this is a pretty good of a debut album, and I think this band is on its way to success. I hope, because there are not too many thrash metal bands these days. I'm really happy about it, especially from Sweden. One comes to my mind, and it's Dr. Living Dead, and that, my friends, have really, really nice vocals. Not for everybody, maybe too suicidal tendencies for a lot of people, but a good example how you can really go bold and do something different than most bands out there and have personality. This is something that Last Legion could have, but then again, it's kind of unfair to compare these bands together because they're in essence quite different. So, that all being said, this is a decent album already out February 17th. The only reason why I had to postpone is are some technical ones which I don't want to get into the detail. What matters is that this is very, very fresh. Less than 5 days since it was released. So check it out. It should be out in your favorite streaming services. At least this is out on Spotify and who knows what services. So give it a go. And if you are old school as me, get a physical format. But up to you, of course. You decide what to do with your music and all. But check it out if you like thrash metal. And no excuses. See you with more reviews coming your way. Bye bye.